How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, the Disney live-action remake train is showing no signs of slowing, and we have made it to the noughties, and we're also off to Hawaii with Lilo and Stitch. For those that are not well versed with their Disney films, Lilo and Stitch follows the story of a young Hawaiian girl who lives with her struggling sister as the pair of them are doing what they can to get by despite often clashing with one another. To raise Lilo's spirits, she rescues a dog from the animal rescue shelter. Except that this is no dog. Stitch is an escaped alien experiment on the run from his nefarious creator. But as he meets Lilo and learns about the human way of life, he starts to realize that a destructive existence is maybe not all he was set out for. Lilo and Stitch was a seminal part of my childhood. It came out in 2002. I was 4 at the time, and it was one of those Disney films that I would watch endlessly on video. It got to a point I even had a CD made of the film so that I could recite the film word for word. The animation was bubbly and so full of character. Hawaii looked absolutely stunning. The humour had a surprising edge to it, and how on earth could you not find Stitch adorable? So, when the inevitable news came round that it had been selected for a Disney live-action remake, which nowadays I feel is the equivalent of like the Hunger Games, of a beloved animated film being called out in the reaping, that a live-action remake will take place, and they can do nothing about it. But I was trepidatious. That being said, though, Lilo and Stitch, I love it. I know a lot of people love it. But let's be real, I don't think it's in the pantheon of Disney classics. And because of that irreverent sense of humor in the animation, I did feel that there was potential. There was stuff that you can explore so that the film could stand on its own 2 feet. So, the 2025 live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, it gets a lot right. For starters, it fully embraces the culture of Hawaii. The landscape looks beautiful. There's a real sense of community within the people. As a little postcard of what Hawaii has to offer and how amazing it is to be there, I think the film succeeds in that. Secondly, I liked a good chunk of the casting. Not all, we'll touch on that later, but a lot of the casting I'm going to give 2 thumbs up to. Maia Kealoha, who plays Lilo, was so friggin' adorable. I like the fact that they don't try to play up her age. Lilo is like, what, 6? So they cast a 6-year-old to play her. She manages to keep Lilo's very dry sense of humor and is just as chaotic, if not more so, than her animated origin. And importantly, Kealoha develops a heart-melting bond with everyone's favorite blue ball of maniacal energy, Stitch. He's once again voiced by Chris Sanders, and yeah, he looks adorable. He is an absolute menace most of the time, but in the tender and warm scenes shared between him and Lilo, you can tell that this remake, it understood the importance of that bond between Lilo and Stitch. Another person who I want to give a tremendous shout out to is quite possibly the MVP of the film, and an element where I actually think they improved upon the animation, and that is Billy Magnussen as Pleakley. Pleakley is still a naive, wide, single-eyed worrywart, but Magnussen is such a wonderful character actor that he is totally unafraid to dial up the ridiculousness to the max. He gets the film's biggest laughs, and I am really, really hopeful that to give this film a platform as it has and how well it's doing, I hope that Hollywood execs are seeing that the potential that Billy Magnussen has to offer. I honestly think if you give him the right project, he could easily become one of the biggest stars in Hollywood today. Another aspect I appreciated was that there was more of a spotlight shone on Nani. Whilst I didn't think that Sydney Elizebeth Agudong wowed me with her performance, the story expands upon Nani much more as a character, building to a point that I see has been met with some criticism online. I can see why people might not love certain directions that the story goes, but for me, I like the fact that it was unpacking new layers to just enhance that overall emotional resonance. So to summarize so far, Lilo and Stitch are great together, Billy Magnussen is hilarious as Pleakley, and it tugs on the heartstrings when it needed to. But just like I said that Lilo and Stitch gets a lot right, sadly, it gets quite a lot wrong too. Most disappointingly of all is Stitch. Yes, Stitch brings a lot of physical comedy. He talks funny like he always does. He is cute when sharing the screen with Lilo. But much of what made Stitch such an endearing character has somewhat been forgotten in this film. We rarely get exposed to what Stitch's purpose is in the story. He rocks up in Lilo's life, causes havoc and destruction, and then the third act happens. There's no exploration of Stitch trying to find a family. There's not even a mention of the Ugly Duckling book. I know I've said before in Disney remakes where I'm okay if you want to depart a little bit from the original, but that is such an intrinsic part to his character, and it's never once brought up. Continuing on with the theme of disappointment, Zach Galifianakis did not work as Jumba. Whether it was because Billy Magnussen was leaving him in his dust every scene, or maybe that Galifianakis just didn't have it in him, he gave such a bland, unmotivated performance. His voice didn't even, there wasn't even an attempt to try something to create a character. That casting, it just did not work. And finally, going into the film, I was really pleased to see director Dean Fleischer Camp be given such a project. I thought what he did with Marcel the Shell with Shoes On proved to me that he is a very creative filmmaker. That being said though, this was not his best work. Visually and editorially speaking, this movie looks as if it has been hacked apart in post. There are some obvious scenes of ADR. Scenes are just disjointed in how they unfold. The camera does so many of these abrupt crash zooms. It's very scrappy filmmaking. I could look past it if it had that winning charm, but it doesn't quite get there. So all in all, the remake of Lilo and Stitch does not tarnish the legacy of the original, but I'd also find myself hard-pushed to ever choose to watch this one instead of the animation. Lilo and Pleakley stand out as the strongest elements, whilst the lack of character development for Stitch and some ropey filmmaking bring it down a fair notch. Disney could have done a lot worse, but whether you want to take that as a compliment or criticism is up to you. So I'm going to give Lilo and Stitch, the 2025 live-action remake, a 6 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on Lilo and Stitch. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I would like to know, what are your favourite and least favourite of the Disney live-action remakes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. But that is all the time we have for today, so thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.